Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Daron Payne and everything that's been going down the last few days ever since the Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen fight, from him deleting all of his Washington football team photos from Instagram and his dad talking bad about Jonathan Allen on Instagram. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Also, go ahead and follow my Twitter. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 followers on there and trying to get to 6,500 subscribers by the end of the year. So make sure you guys check out the Twitter and check out WinView. Let's get right into the video. I usually don't like making these, videos, because usually these Instagram likes or deleting things or, removing things from their bio really don't mean anything. But I feel like this time it's pretty warranted, because he did this right after the Jonathan Allen fight on Sunday night. And, there's been a lot of things going on with him and, his family as well, posting some crazy things. So, I mean, it's really, really weird. You look at his Instagram, his Twitter still has some stuff up, but he's not really active on Twitter. But if you look on his Instagram, really nothing that says, if you just looked at it, you really couldn't tell he played for the Washington football team or played in the NFL. Nothing in his bio or, his profile picture, and nothing there with anything Washington football team related. So pretty weird he did this right. Again, if he would have just done this randomly, maybe, I guess there's one photo here, but that was pretty early. If it was just a random photo, or if it was done randomly, then okay, maybe I wouldn't, look into it that much. But him doing this right after the fight, it is pretty suspicious. And we all know Ron Rivera, when players are not fully bought in, he usually moves on from them. Prime example is Quinton Dunbar. He wanted a big deal. He wasn't fully bought in. Ron Rivera's like, wanted him. You didn't want to give him a deal right away. Wanted him to wait, see how Quinton Dunbar was in the building, on the field. Quinton Dunbar didn't really want that. He wanted a contract right away. And, Ron Rivera traded him away for a 5th round pick. And at the time, a lot of people were like, man, that wasn't a good move. He was, our best. A lot of people were saying he's our best corner. We only got a 5th round pick for him. But it ended up being a really good move. And it just shows there's been other players as well. If you're not totally bought in, Ron Rivera does not want you here. And eventually, he will move on from you. So I'm not saying this is the case for Daron Payne. He could, still get extended here, but I think there is an increased chance that we do move on from him. I mean, you have to look at it. There's no way we're going to be able to keep our whole D-line if you look at Montez Sweat, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, Ioannidis, and Settle. But I mean, our starting 4, one of those guys is going to have to go. And real quick, if you guys did not know, Montez Sweat, his brother, got killed in a tragic, shooting, I believe, in Richmond. So prayers out to him. Really, really tough loss from it. Just sucks. This team is going through so much. Really, really unfortunate news there. So prayers out to Montez Sweat and his family in this tough time. And now let's just get back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of, those 4. I think they're going to, one of those guys is going to have to go. They already extended Jonathan Allen, so he's obviously going to stay here. Chase Young, number 2 overall pick. As long as he starts, improving, he comes back better than ever from, this ACL injury. And, just from a, not great rookie, or not great second year, or at least the first half of the second year, then I think they will keep him. It's really hard to, move on from a 2nd overall pick. And then it's really between Montez Sweat and Daron Payne. But, Montez Sweat still has, I believe, this was his 3rd year, so he still has 2 years on his rookie deal. Daron Payne, after this year, has 1 year left on that deal. So I think Daron Payne has a higher chance of being traded. One of those guys is going to have to go, though, because it's going to be very, very hard to pay all of them. And I don't know, something just been a little bit off with this D-line this year. They still played, pretty well early on in the season. The D-line really wasn't the issue. It was the, back 7, the linebackers and the secondary. It doesn't matter how good the D-line is. If the guys are wide open, it doesn't matter because the quarterback can just throw to them right away. So, and they've been playing, they played a lot better in, the middle part of the season up until the, Eagles game. And that's because, their whole, they had a bunch of guys on the COVID list. They had, the back seven's just been terrible, which, again, your linebackers, your secondary are, either injured or are not good. It's going to be hard to produce, but still, though, they haven't been as dominant as we would like, and maybe some of that's chemistry. I think a lot of it is coaching in Sam Mills. I definitely think Ron Rivera should move on from the D-line coach, which is Sam Mills, get someone else in there, but still, they haven't been as dominant as I thought they would be, so maybe you move on from one of these guys, Daron Payne, but you don't want to obviously just let them go. There's zero reason to do that. I think, though, if you do something like the 49ers did, you trade away one of your linemen because your D-line is dominant and you get a good pick. The 49ers, unfortunately for them, picked the wrong player in DeForest Buckner, but they still got a first-round pick and used that on another interior D lineman, but at least they did not lose him for nothing because they weren't going to be able to pay him. So they got a first-round pick for him, the year before he left. So Washington needs to do the same with whatever D lineman they are going to, they think they're not going to be able to keep some other things. Daron Payne's dad on Instagram has been, just talking about, I'm not going to read it. You guys can read it right here while I'm talking, but when the dad gets in here, it just all when the dad gets into it on social media, it always goes downhill from there. So it's a weird situation. It really, really is. Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen have been playing, together for 8-9 years, but this seems really weird, and I thought it was going to be fine, and it likely still is. I don't think it's a huge deal, but I don't think all of this is going to go over well with Ron Rivera when it comes to the decision of who they're going to keep, because some people in the comments, you guys might think that, we're going to be able to keep all of these guys. Well, I don't think so. I do not think we're going to be able to keep all of them. I know Tim Settle is likely going to be gone after this year. I love him, but unless, the only way he stays here is if we trade Daron Payne early on in the offseason, with a pick for a quarterback. That's the only way it happens. But Ed Oliver, shout out to him. We all know who Ed Oliver is, but he put it on Twitter during the game. He says Daron Payne will be included in a trade package if we trade for QB now. And I agree. They're going to have to, teams are going to want players and picks, and our best position group is our D-line, so you can go ahead and throw in Daron Payne, and Daron Payne's had a good year, but your D-line won't be really that much worse without Daron Payne because you're still going to have Montez Sweat, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, and Matt Ioannidis, so it is a little bit of a downgrade because you're not going to have as much depth, but still, it is a very, very, very good group when healthy. And we have to think, this D-line, Montez Sweat's been out, 7-8 games, Chase Young for half the year, so they really haven't been healthy for much of the year. But yeah, Daron Payne, they could use him. I think the most realistic quarterback target for Washington this year is Derek Carr. So I think that you could include, Daron Payne and a high pick. I don't know what the price is going to be for Derek Carr. It might be like a first and a player. I think Daron Payne's value is likely a second to third-ish round pick. I really am not good at determining value when you don't really have a good basis for it. He's not on the same level as DeForest Buckner was, and they got a first-round pick for him. So somewhere in that range, you look at his stats this year, he's been solid. He's been solid 15 games, 4.5 sacks, 48 total tackles. The year before had 3, the year before had 2, and 5 in his rookie year. So he's been good, getting some pressure. He's, really good in the run game, but, Matt Ioannidis is a better pass rusher, not as good in the run game, but he hasn't been getting as many snaps because obviously Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen are ahead of him. But if it comes down to it, I am definitely fine trading away Daron Payne if you're including him in a package for a quarterback, because of course nothing matters in this league unless you have a franchise quarterback. And Derek Carr might not be an elite quarterback, but in my opinion, he's a top 12 guy. And unlike Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins is statistically a top 12 guy, but when it comes down to prime time or clutch moments, Kirk Cousins does not get it done all the time. And Derek Carr is one of the best clutch quarterbacks in the NFL. So I would definitely be on board with trading for Derek Carr, because maybe you lose a lineman and a first round pick, or again, don't know what the trade value is. Could be a first round pick in Daron Payne, could be less than that, could be more than that. But I do think that any trade package for quarterback should include a D lineman, and it should be the D lineman that is not in their future plans. Because let's say you decide you don't want Daron Payne, but you also don't want to trade him. Well, he's going to walk for nothing, and you're going to get maybe a 4th round or 3rd round compensatory pick. And that's going to be in a year or two, so it's just not worth it, and it's going to be at the back end of the round, so you might as well get something now for him, include him in a package for someone like Derek Carr, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. Of course, those guys are long shots, but you might as well try to get some of these guys, because again, if you want sustained success in the National Football League, you need a franchise quarterback. You look at all the playoff teams this year, almost all of them have franchise quarterbacks besides a couple, and those guys are still all right. So I think that's going to do it for today's video. I usually don't do these types of videos, but I want to hear from you guys what you think about this whole Daron Payne situation. Him deleting all his photos on Instagram, the thing with his dad, and the fight in general. I don't think this is going to go over well with Ron Rivera if he does indeed see this. And this could even be like, him deleting all his photos could be something like Ron Rivera talked to him after the game, or yesterday, and he just wasn't a fan of what Ron Rivera said, and maybe that's why he even got more upset than he already was. But that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.